Let me know when it's recording. If you haven't already pressed start.
Yep, it is. Looks like I've got a message that it has started.
Wonderful. Okay. So what I did for everybody that's on the call, I just put into the chat the website address, that the link that you will need to follow to essentially follow along during the exact same time that I'm guiding this presentation. So you'll see in the chat feature, it says transcripts.verify.com/repository. If you put that into your web browser, you will be able to get to this screen, and that gives you an idea that you are in the right place, doing the right things, okay? If you are completely new, which I would say 99% of you are, you will go to this section here where it says sign up. The one thing that I would highly encourage as well as we go through this process, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat or raise your hand so we can unmute you and I can answer them in real time. That's really the purpose of this call. So please do not be shy if there is something that is unclear. If there is something that doesn't seem to make sense to you. I already see, Melissa, that you have a question. So I don't know if we're able to unmute and allow Melissa to ask the question.
Melissa, you should be able to unmute yourself. I haven't done it from the back end, so
yeah,
I think you should be good.
Thank you. So I put in the website. It came up 404, page not found. Oh wait, here it says go to home page. Let's see if that works.
Same for me.
Was there a typo?
Looks like somebody said there was a typo.
Look at me. Look at me starting off the webinar on the great foot by putting a typo.
Hey,
so.
I like to blame my fingers can't keep up with my brain.
Yeah, if you click on the one that Bonnie put in the chat, you should be able to get to the correct website. Okay, so the first part of this process, and the one thing that I always recommend is when you are signing up for this account, please note, based upon your school, you will be allowed one admin account, so one user per institution. So I always recommend that when you come in here, if you're putting in your first name and your last name, that I would recommend you do some type of info at or admin at or some type of general email address that you might have, that multiple individuals will have kind of a global access to this username and the password, being that when some of the institutions you're going to come in, you're going to register now, you're going to put in records from the year 21, 22, 22, 23, and then next year you have to come back for 23 and 24. You want to make sure that you're remembering the username, at a minimum, at least the email address that was used to be able to create your account, right? So try to keep some type of format for your email or do some type of info at. I do see that there is another question, that hand that was raised.
Jennifer, if you want to come off mute and just let us know whether your question has been answered or if you have a new one.
My question was answered. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks.
All right, so I'm going to go in here and create my account. So once you go to create your account, it will then send a confirmation email to the address that was provided in the email that was provided for the registration itself. So I'm going to go over to my email and just get that confirmation link. If you're not seeing it, sometimes it does go to the spam filter. So if it does go to spam, just check that because it comes over pretty quickly. You will get, let me just see if I can pull it into the screen. So you'll see an email that looks something very similar to this, and all you'll need to do is to click here to verify that you were able, that you are the recipient and that you received the correct location, the correct invitation. Let me know if you guys are still seeing the transcripts at verify.com. Do you see the email verification with the green check mark?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Wonderful. So once you verify, it's going to prompt you to go back in and sign in again. And you're going to be able to log in.
Amanda, real quick.
Sure.
Kirsten, do you have a question that you would like to come off mute?
Yeah, it's Kirsten.
Oh,
Sorry. No, you're fine. So I have, there's two separate campuses for my school. So when you guys say that you need to have one account, does that work for the two separate campuses for my other counterpart that's up in our other campus, or how does that work?
So I can show you, you can register under one account, you can register multiple institutions. So
Okay.
you will have the ability to do that, or you could have another entity register on their behalf. So I can show you. They can either just go in and create their own account and register under their specific location, or I will show you towards the end of this process how you can go back and how you can register for a separate institution that you might be managing and supporting during this
Okay.
process.
All right, no worries. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Sure, great question. So thanks so much. So basically, this is going to be the first part of the process. It's just going to ask you for your job title, ask you for the address. And ask for your phone number, just in the event that we have any questions. And you're going to continue. Now, this is the part of the process. This is essentially what we're going to ask you to go through to be able to upload your documents. So basically, you've already created the account, check. We're going to ask you to select what your services are. We'll proceed to the next screen to show you what that looks like. Once you select your services, the agreement will be automatically populated in this platform for you, where you'll be able to download it, review it, and ultimately be able to execute it directly in this platform. Once the agreement has been signed, based upon the options that you have selected, it will give you essentially the total for the agreement in and of itself. And then you have the option to either upload your documents or manually mail us your documents if you have paper documents, and then you'll get an approval status. So we're going to continue. During this, this is probably the easiest part of the process. You can come in here, you select your state. From that point, based upon the state that you select, you will see an entire list of all of the schools that we currently have that are either registered with the PDE or they are approved pending. So if you come through here, and I will tell you right now, being that we just released this, if you go to scroll down this menu, it stops at M. We know that this is a bug. We are currently working on fixing it. So this is my recommendation. If your school is not listed here, my recommendation is to just start to type in the name of the school that you have. And if you are able to type this in and you're able to see it, or you're not able to see it at all, essentially let us know if you're not able to see your school, and we will go ahead and make sure that we confirm everything on our side and that we can find your school and we get you added. Sometimes if you don't see your school here, all you need to do is type in the school name and it will populate for you. There's just a viewing error, a scrolling issue that we're having right now, but we're working on fixing it. So
Amanda,
gonna
real
go through-
quick,
Yep.
there were some questions. I'm sorry to continue to interrupt you. There was some questions about applicant schools, and I know we were talking about that earlier today, how we're going to go, to approach that. Do you want to speak on that? And then it looks like we do have, Rachel may have a question as well. And Rachel, I think
Sure.
that was maybe yours in the comment section.
Yes, that's
So-
my question.
Wonderful. Yeah. So any school that once you're in the process, and Jenny, this might be something where you can speak a little bit better than I can in terms of clarity. So once a school has applied and it gets to the approved pending status by the PDE, we will get notification of that. And then we will go ahead and we will put your name or your institution on this list. It is not required at the application stage. So Jenny, I don't know if you want to provide a little bit more. This agreement is not required at the application stage, I guess, is probably a better way to state that.
That's correct. And I know, and I'm not sure if Nicole is on, if she was able to join or not at this point, but yes, so internal discussions, we did start that, but that's kind of where we're leaning. If you're in the application phase, we alert you to the repository agreement that will be required once you are approved. So at this point, we're still going with the guidance that you know it's required, but you can leave that tab blank in the application for the application or the first submission. But once you are alerted that you are an approved pending, part of that cure letter or that review letter from that board meeting will also include, please now start the steps of securing that contract, which then you'll take these steps to be able to then show that you have done that. And we will alert Amanda and her team that you are in that status, and then they can add you to the list. Rachel, do you have a continuing question?
No, that answered it. Thank you.
Perfect.
Rachel, Rachel,
Yep,
did
I
that
think
answer your
she's good.
question?
Yep.
Okay, perfect, wonderful. Okay, so once once your name appears in this select search option, you select the school. And then from there, we're asking you to select your school status. I do think based upon the verbiage that we're using at this point, I think I'm going to make a recommendation that we change a little bit of the verbiage here. But for now, if you are approved pending, you will select new school applicants. If you are already licensed and registered with the state, you will select licensed and registered. For purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to continue with the license and registered process, just simply because there are more steps to follow. If you are licensed versus if you are a new school that is approved pending. And I will kind of explain both in tandem as we proceed through this process. So you'll make these selections and then you'll select continue. This is where I need for you to just evaluate the current records that you have. Now, please keep in mind that the initial agreement phase for the first year entering into this agreement with Verify is for 3 years total of storage of your transcripts and your records. It's for the 21-22 calendar year, 22-23 calendar year, and the 23-24 calendar year. That is a great question, Haley. I will definitely get to that question once I move through this process. So perfect. So you have the option here to select storage only or storage and service. And what does that mean? So if you select storage only, it means that you are just providing us all of the transcripts for those 3 years, or the first 2 years, and then coming back in a year and providing us with 23-24 records. And we are just storing them and keeping them on file and keeping them safe in the event of any type of closure or any future necessity. So we have the records on file. If you are looking for us to be able to service your records for you as well, basically what that means is that we have a public site that any student who is looking to request their transcripts, they can come to our site and they can automatically come in and they can access their records as long as we have the permission from your institution to be able to service them, and we can service those records for you. And we do that through an ID verification. We make sure that the person is who they say they are. We make sure that we reference their ID compared to their picture that they take through our portal, and then we issue the transcripts directly through our portal. So it's received electronically and they're transferred electronically. So if you come in and you select storage in the first part of the process, and later down the road, you want to come back and change your services to store and service, we definitely can do that. It would just need to be a modification in the system. I will tell you right now is that for phase 1 of this process, we did not make that modification in the system, but we are working on that for phase 2. So that should be available within the next couple of weeks to be able to go back and modify the services that you're requesting, or the services that you would like for us to be able to provide you. So great question. Tamara, you did not get this option under new school. Did I do the contract correctly? Okay, so for so Tamara, if you could just provide, so when you selected the new school registration and you went to select services, it did not provide this option, storage and service my records. Is that correct?
Tamara, if you want, okay. I was gonna say, you can come off mute if you'd like.
Okay, we can walk through and go through the so the reason for that, Tamara, you did it correctly. The reason for that is that essentially in the first year while you're in the approved pending process, there are no records for you to actually send to us. So when you come back in year 2, you will come back in, you will go through the process where you select your state, you select your institution. Now you are a licensed and registered institution, and you will go through this process. So the first part of the process is just essentially saying that you will use us as the repository. That's why it's a little bit different. And then when you come back in a year and you have records to be able to pass to us, then you will go through this process. So it is a little bit different, but you're doing the right thing, so don't worry. Okay, so now we're going to go through here with select and service. I'm going to go with the storage only option at this point. Basically, these two options tell us essentially if we need to make your records public or if we don't. And when I mean public, just accessible to our site. So then you're going to go through here and you're going to select your services. So hopefully with the records being, from the past, 21, 22, 22, 23 year and 23, 24, they should all be digital. But in the event that you have any, if you have paper records, you can select paper. If you have a combination of both, which is digital and paper, you can select the combination of both. So the pricing for storage and processing in the contract itself, it will be, so based upon these service selections that you make, it will show you what the total is once we get past this process and you tell us essentially how you're sending us the records. So it's all a determining factor as to what the overall price is. I will tell you right now that the lowest price to your institution will always be if you do digital, and if you provide it to us in the preferred format, and I will walk through what that looks like. If you send us the digital records and you send it to us in the preferred format, the cost to your institution is $250 on a biennial basis. If you decide to send it to us in the non-preferred format, which means we have to do a little bit of work, we have to divide some records out, etc., the cost does go up incrementally. And the most expensive option that you have is the paper option, because you will be sending us boxes of transcripts and we will have to manually feed them in to get digitized to be able to then store them digitally for the state. So I will kind of walk through a little bit of that. And basically this process, the way that you select which type of services that you are going to be proceeding with and moving forward with will determine what your cost is when you get to the final stages of this process once you select it. PDF is what I call digital, correct? Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select digital. At this point, I'm going to select continue. I will kind of go back and forth to explain the difference between the two, so that way you guys have an understanding of what would be a preferred format for digital and what would be a preferred format for paper. So if you get to this page and it's going to ask you, are you sending it to us in the preferred format? Yes or no? And you're like, hey, what the heck is preferred format? All you need to do is click on this button here, or click on the hyperlink, and it will show you exactly what is the preferred format. There are 2 steps to the preferred format. And this requires a little bit of effort on your end. And that is why we prefer it in this format, because it comes over exactly as we wish to have received it. But there is a little bit of lift on your side. So what we are asking for is that each transcript that you send to us is in a separate PDF file. So you are sending us 1 transcript per PDF file. There is no type, like the document itself is typed. So there's nothing that is on that document that is handwritten. It is machine readable format, and that basically means, just reiterates that there's nothing that's in handwriting on it, and that each PDF has a unique file name. So that way there are no duplicates of the files itself, that each file has its own name, that it includes transcripts only. And this is really important. We want to make sure that it's free of any loan documentation, any catalogs, any enrollment forms. So this would be essentially what you deem as a transcript and what you would send to a student if they were requesting their specific transcripts. So these first 5 or 6 bullet points refer to the actual document itself. This last bullet here is the second piece of the puzzle, which is there is a master CSV file. So I want to explain what a CSV file is really quickly, and just explain to you that please don't be afraid by the acronym. It is actually fairly easy, and there should be guidance in here as well. There's a template that is in the system, so that way you can download it in the preferred format and be able to input the information. So a CSV file is essentially an Excel file that is just renamed in a .csv format. So if you are using Word on your computer, all you need to do is you need to open up an Excel document, or when you open up the template on here, it will come, you will be able to download it automatically onto your computer as as the preferred document. Or if you prefer, just open up an Excel document on your computer. You include this specific information, so everything that is starred in red. We need the student's first name, the student's last name, the date of birth, the transcript file name, and then one of the following. We either need the last 4 digits of the Social Security number or the student ID number. Either one of these, not both is required. It's just either one of those. And then this additional information in here is just a nice to have. It is not required, but it does help us from a filing and a storage perspective if you are able to provide the student status, the start year, and the end year of the individual itself for each individual transcript that you will be sending to us. I see a few questions before I continue. So including signatures, that's a great question, Bonnie. I will get back to you about that from a signature perspective. I don't think it should be an issue, but I just want to confirm, and we can definitely put that in the follow-up Q&A from later, for later. All right, should only official transcripts be provided? So this is where the status option kind of comes into play. The status, we are looking for your guidance, because we do realize that you will have some students that they've dropped. We have some students that have graduated. We have some students that have completed and graduated but have not paid in full. So we are looking for, if you think that there's a potential for the student to come back in and either finish their certificate with you or finish their degree with you. You can provide however you are classifying that student status. We were talking with the state as well as to providing additional options in here to be able to list some different statuses to give you an idea as to how you might want to mark those individual transcript files. The reason for this section on our behalf is that if you think that in 2023, you have John Doe who decides to drop out of the program, but in 2025, he comes back and he completes the program. We want to be able to go back and essentially remove the 23 transcript that was there that was incomplete and replace it with the completed one. So in the event that we are ever either the service, the repository for John Doe's records, we are not pulling up two files, one that's incomplete and one that is complete. We are only referencing the complete one. So that is where this status is important for us to be able to help us go back and overwrite some of that information. But again, it is not required. And yes, the webinar is being recorded for later. Is date of birth required? Date of birth is required for past transcripts, yes. Our program is 3 days long. What's the start year? Yes, I would just have it be the same. It just helps us from a start year, end year. That helps us with the search criteria in the event that the individual comes in and for whatever reason, they forget which name that they were registered under, which does happen once, once time passes a little bit, it helps us narrow down our search in the filter itself. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to say that we will be uploading the digital records in the preferred format and continue. It'll take you to your order summary. So this will show you that essentially the digital records, you are sending them to us in the preferred format. And this is essentially what the fee is for 2 years for us to be your provider and your repository and the storage or servicing components. We're going to click continue, and that takes you to the verify service agreement. So basically what has happened is every option that you selected prior to is now pre-populated into the actual agreement itself. It does require you to scroll all the way to the bottom of the document in order for you to be able to either download or to continue in the process. If you are interested at this point, you can come in here, you can pre-populate your information. You then provide the date of signature, which is the 30th, and you are allowed to continue. Filling this out will actually execute the agreement itself, and you will see as soon as I click continue, it will move to the download button, and so you have a copy of that. And so I see a quick question here. If only handwritten text is the signature, will still be considered the preferred format. Melissa, I have mentioned earlier, I definitely will confirm that. I don't think that'll be an issue. The things that are handwritten that are typically of concern for us is any of that, the data that we had required earlier. So if it's the student's first name or last name that is handwritten, if the date of birth is handwritten, and the dates of attendance are handwritten, that's where our areas of concern are, because that's where our technology has to be able to extract that information. I don't believe signature will interfere with any of that. So as long as the required information is typed, we should be fine. But I just want to get back to everybody on that and confirm that answer for you before I say with 100% certainty. Robin, I see your question. So we will need to upload both the digital records, i.e. PDF of the transcript and the CSV file. Robin, that is correct. So if you're doing it in the preferred format, both digital records and the CSV file will be required at the time of registration. Sure. All right. So once you've filled out this information, the one thing that I did realize as we were kind of going through, a few people have been able to test this process out. I realized that it didn't really signify here that if you fill this information out, it means that the agreement itself will be executed. So if somebody else in your organization, other than the person who is creating the account, needs to sign this or needs to be the credentials that fill in here, you do have the opportunity to download this, to send it to them, to make sure that you have their approval to sign the agreement on their behalf. So typing in this information here will execute the agreement, and then you will be able to proceed and move forward to the next step. Like I mentioned before, you will be able to get a copy of this, so that way you can keep it for your records and your files. You can forward it to the state if necessary, but just giving you that idea, just letting you know that that's kind of the process. And I'll show you in the back end where you can actually see all of this information. You can log in repeatedly, gain access to it later if you, for whatever reason, you lose track of that document. It's going to prompt you for your payment method. You will have the ability to scan your card here, which you can use your card on your computer. I'm just going to go ahead and manually enter it. So with dummy data, so that way my card does not get physically charged. We're going to select continue. It's going to give you a confirmation, and then you're going to proceed to the next step. All right, I see a question from Chris. I do not think we put date of birth on our current transcripts. What should we do in this case? Chris, I will get back to you on that and provide confirmation of exactly what we will need to be able to do to assist you. Just making a quick note. All right, so now this is where you go in and you select your academic year that you will be uploading your transcripts. It is important that you're uploading for the specific year that the student was in attendance, because again, if you are selecting a service and storage, or in the event that we will need to service them in the future, we do like to have that specific date range to be able to filter quickly and easily. And this is where you will go through. Clay, I see that's the question on the 250. So it is a biennial fee. So you will pay it every 2 years to be able to, for you to have access to upload it and for us to store it. And for the Social Security numbers, yes, you just do the last 4. We do not want we don't want the total. We don't want all of them. The whole number in our records. So we're going to do the master file upload here. And I apologize that this is taking a little bit long, so I'm going to try to refresh my screen.
And Amanda, let me ask this question, because I know it's not there yet, but it might be in some minds. So some programs for our schools are like 18 months. Does that present any problems where they might enroll late 2022 and not graduate? You know, they might, for some reason, cross over between the timelines. I don't think it will, but if there's a possibility, and they don't necessarily fit neatly into those timeframes, any issue with that?
No, for the process that we follow, it's really we're looking for the transcripts to be sent to us within 90 days post the academic calendar year. So when that calendar year ends, you guys have 90 days to get us the transcripts. So it's really based upon essentially the school's academic schedule, not necessarily ours. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna, I apologize. I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna start the process again because it looked like it was stuck.
And I know we had some late joiners, so while Amanda's getting that sorted out and she'll start sharing her screen again, this is being recorded. So once we know that it is ready and made available, we will let you guys know.
So
Sorry
I'm
about this.
sorry, going back to a course that would cross over an academic year. So if they started in 2021, but they don't graduate until 2022, which academic year would we put them in?
Give me 1 second. Let me just try to log in so I can focus on your question because I'm trying to type and listen at the same time, and my multitasking skills are not working out really well right now. So I apologize.
No worries. I'm sorry for that.
No, that's okay. I appreciate the questions. And I think, so Nicole, I would love for your guidance on that specifically, in terms of your preference. Would you prefer that the institutions send us incomplete records, or only when they're completed? I don't know if Nicole's still on the call with me.
I'm online. I'll be down there.
Yeah, it doesn't appear that Nicole's on the call right now, but we can get that information, get a determination from her and send it out.
Okay, that is perfect. If you wouldn't mind, just writing that question down. And guys, I'm really sorry, the system seems to be cycling. So I'm gonna try to pull up my recording really quick and see if I can access the recording so we can get to the point where we need to get to, so you guys can continue to see the process on how to upload. And hopefully while it's thinking, it will populate. Give me 1 more second. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm going to take you to just, for some reason, it's technology at its finest right now, unfortunately, at this point. So let me know if you can see the master file upload page that I have here. Jenny, you good?
Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of answering some questions.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Okay, so this will be the next step in the process where you'll be able to see essentially the master file upload. This is where you are able to select your document template. So this is the CSV file that you are going to be selecting. This will come to you in a format that will include that first name, last name, file name, and I'll attach a copy of it to this, and we'll also make sure that it's accessible on the Pennsylvania site, so that way you guys can download it at any point as you're preparing your records. And then from there, once that document is complete, so it's just an Excel file that's saved as a CSV file, you're going to proceed to the uploading of the CSV. This is where you will you can drag and drop your file into this section, or you can click upload. It's completely up to you what you prefer to do. But if you drag and drop, it's going to upload the files, and it's going to show the sample CSV is uploaded. Now, if you upload an Excel file, if you upload a PDF file, if you upload any other type of file, unfortunately, it will not allow for you to continue. So make sure that when you're uploading the file, you do select the appropriate file and the appropriate format in order for you to be able to continue the process. All right, Sadie, it looks like he says, I believe somehow I signed up as a student and only allows me to search for a student file, not enter in our school data or upload files. I've really logged in, but it looks like I already have an account. Doesn't change anything. How can I reset my account? Sadie, if you want to drop your email address, either just my contact info, I'll send you my contact info, and then that way you can send me your email address and we'll make sure that everything gets resent. And I'm looking at, you're unable to get past the work details page. There might be, sorry, Danielle, I looked at your question. Was that the same screen that I was on? I think they might be doing some development in the back end, which is why it's cycling. But if that's the case, that might be why we're stuck at this point. Amy, I see, okay. It says, we also do not add date of birth to transcripts. Once you find out a solution, can you send out information as well? Got it. All of our transcripts are handwritten. Would it be an option to redo all of them in a type format to save cost? Is that acceptable? Tulip, that's a great question. Personally, so this is me speaking from Verify side, not from the Department of Education side. So I personally, yes, I would say, like, I would redo all of your transcripts to be able to save money on the format. I'm assuming that your institution allows for you to do that. So as long as that's acceptable for your institution, and the state, I would say go ahead and do it and save yourself some costs. So, but that's just me not understanding the rules and the legislation and all of the stuff within your institution that you might need to follow. So, all right. We do not include Social Security number on transcripts. So Jennifer, I just saw your message. So the last four of the Social Security number, we know that most institutions don't do that anymore. That was something that was, so that's something that we built into the process for like historical records when we move on to phase 2 of this process. So if you, that is why the last four of the Social Security number is optional. It is not a requirement. It is optional. Sorry, Jenny, I saw that you answered that. All right, Nicole, I would assume that all grads and students we report on the annual statistical report would be the same names that we would upload each year. Is this correct? Active students at the time would be listed on the next year when the status changes. So Nicole, that's a great question. That is why when we had listed on the preferred format, we put the student status because you can send us essentially active, you can send us students that have graduated. You can send us all of that information that you're keeping on a historical basis. And as long as that student file essentially, so that PDF remains the same each year when you go to upload it, if their status has changed from active to graduated or whatever however you're notating them in your system, we can actually overwrite that transcript that you sent to us the year prior. So that is why status is important to us, because we know that if it moves 1 year from active to graduated, that we would need to overwrite a record. And so that's why it's a nice to have. It is not a requirement for you to be able to do that, but it would be super helpful for us. If a full social security number if there's a full social security number on a transcript, do we need to redact it? If you could, that would be great. Because we really want to try to keep as much information. We don't want, we try to keep as much information kind of confidential as possible.
I have a question.
Mhm.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I don't know how to type on here to give you my question.
That's okay.
Our license is up in February. How soon do we have to get the transcripts to you?
So it's, and Jenny, if you just want to confirm, it's prior to your renewal. So typically we recommend like a month prior to your renewal, you're coming
Okay.
in here, you're going through the process, you're uploading everything. So that way you have a chance to do it. If you are interested in starting now, and building the CSV file, entering the agreement, doing what you need to do, you are more than welcome to do it now.
Okay.
It's completely up to you when you're ready.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you so very much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. And Nicole, I saw your question was, are we uploading active students? I thought it was just grads and withdrawals. Jenny, do you have I thought it was active grads and withdrawals, but that would be something for you guys to confirm.
Typically it's just grads and withdrawals. Actives, like you said, would overwrite the next time that they would submit. So I think if that's not a difficult process on the back end to overwrite them, then I think if they actually put actives in there, that's fine. But typically it would just start out as withdrawals and grads. Because that active student will eventually cross over to one of those statuses.
Okay.
And come into the system.
So there you go, Nicole. We're all learning together. Can we upload every graduation instead of during a renewal? Yes, you are able to upload it. The parameters are that you have once, it's within a 90-day period of essentially the end of the academic year is kind of what we're saying the parameters are for the upload. And we do recommend that you upload every year. So that's our recommendation. All right. Great questions. Thank you, guys. All right. So for the transcript uploading process, so this is just where you upload your PDF documents. I apologize. It's going to give you the instructions here on how to do the correct format, like I had reviewed earlier, where that it's basically saying that you want one transcript per PDF. They're each uniquely named, and you have the ability to download those and kind of keep them as reference as you're building this process. And then you go ahead and you can proceed to uploading your transcripts. Again, you have the opportunity to drag and drop your files here or upload your specific files. Once they are uploaded, you will see them in this queue and then you will be able to continue. And then you have an approval status. So typically it gives you a 24, it says within 24 hours, you can come back and you can confirm that that your documents have been approved and that they've been loaded. So very similar to any other system where you can upload your documents, you will be able to see a dashboard of each file that you uploaded and that it was successfully uploaded. If for any reason a file didn't transfer over, it was corrupt, it didn't come through, it wasn't approved, you'll see on the dashboard that you would potentially need to come back in and reload that specific transcript. but you'll have the opportunity to kind of come back and then get the approval status. In the dashboard itself, you will also have the opportunity to go into the system and take a look at the contract itself. And so you can see how long it's active for. You can also see, you can download it if you have lost track of it and you need to download it for your records. And it gives you the ability to go back in year over year and update the status. All right, so. All right, can we add transcripts anytime instead of waiting? We hold 3 classes per year, so we have 3 graduations per year. Can we upload after every graduation? Yes, you can upload at any time. Some of our programs are short. As a result, students may have taken 2 or more programs in the same academic year. Should we combine the transcript for multiple programs in one file for academic year for an individual? I would state, Hattie, if I guess the question, Hattie, for you would be almost twofold, to be quite honest. So if I'm assuming at the time when if you're going to submit at the time of graduation, then my recommendation would be that you submit the file, and then every time you submit based upon the registration, you name the file differently. Personally, it probably would be easier if you're able to wait towards like a specific time frame. So once both programs or multiple programs have closed, and then you combine them into one file. So essentially, both programs that they completed are in the same file, because it will be very hard to overwrite. We don't want them losing any one transcript, because the data will still be the same. Their date of birth will still be the same. Their, the year of attendance will be the same, et cetera. So my preference for Hattie, for you would be to kind of load both of the transcripts in the same file. So that way, when we go to reference it, or if we go to service it, we can provide them with all of their information. Okay, so I see when we create the transcripts digitally, they are printed out and then signed. Can we upload the unsigned transcript? I think someone may have asked this question. So Robin, I'm just gonna confirm on that specific question itself. The information that we're really concerned about that's handwritten is the first name, last name, date of birth, dates of attendance, any information that we need to scan the document for to be able to then potentially service it down the road. So I don't believe that the signature will be an issue whatsoever, but we are confirming, and we can make sure that we get back to you on that answer. Right, next question, the specific transcript file. What do you want this named as? So that's a great question. We do not require it to be named anything specific. We don't have a standard naming convention that you have to follow in order for you to send it to us. We just ask that each file be named uniquely, and that you provide, so if you're doing the preferred format, that you provide us with that unique name for the first name and for the student, essentially, in the transcript that it's associated with. Okay. All right. If we choose storage and service, is there a difference in a fee to the provider? For the first year of this process, there will not be a difference in the in the cost to the provider. We are working on discussions on making provisions for the second year terms, based upon essentially what we find as we're going through this process. So that's a great question, Clay. If you have any specific questions for me, we can definitely have a conversation about it as well. But for right now, the cost is the same. We were talking about that if you do provide service and storage, essentially, if you have enough requests to cover the cost of the storage itself, year 2 would be at no cost, and you would be able to waive the year 2 fee. But year 1, the cost would be the same. Great. Any other questions? Old transcripts allowed to be uploaded? Great question, Erin. So being that we are essentially working with, 180 plus schools sending us their transcripts, we're trying to get through kind of the first phase. We're thinking of having a conversation with the state, probably, I would say, hopefully, fingers crossed, April or May. As you can see, like, we just rolled out the technology itself. You could see that as we went through it, it kind of, we were working on some bug fixes on the one side. And so there were some challenges in it, right? Software is perfect, but it's not always 100% perfect. So we want to get through essentially the first few iterations of this, and then we'll discuss how to load historical records. And so we're hoping probably April and May of 24, we'll be able to come back to you with the historical records. Any other questions? Robin. Robin, you can unmute yourself. I don't know if you just raised your hand by accident or.
Okay. Yeah, no, I did. I didn't know I can unmute. I didn't think you wanted us to talk.
No. I love hearing other voices. It breaks up my monotony.
Okay. All right. Great. Hello. Thank you for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Sure.
So if I have like multiple graduations in a year, which I know somebody asked this already, but if I wanted to upload my transcripts, then wait for the next class to graduate, can I add to that in the upload? Like, can I upload and then go back in like 2 or 3 months later and upload a whole nother crew?
Yes, you absolutely can.
Great. Okay.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? So will schools still need to find a school to serve as a repository if renewing their license now?
No, you see it. You can't see stuff.
Debbie, I'm not sure I understand your question. I don't know if you want to be able to unmute and just ask the question.
The hand job
And somebody is not on mute. Can we please check our phones as well as our computers?
Yes, I'll try to clarify. If your service is not taking the old records yet from a school, currently schools need to have another school as a repository for all of their records should a closure occur. So if the old records are not yet allowed to be uploaded or ready to be uploaded from your company standpoint, does that mean that if somebody's renewing their license before that happens, they still need another school as a repository?
So I guess let me just make sure I understood. So the system is available today to be able to upload the records. So right now there was just some development things that were happening in the background, which is why it cycled in a certain area. So it is available today to be able to go in and upload your 21-22, your 22-23 records. And then at the completion of the 23-24 year, you can add the 23-24. So right now we are looking for the combination of those 3 years of records historically that you can send to us. So
I'm referencing transcripts from 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
So you will still, you will still be eligible for renewal. If you don't send us, Jenny, you might want to help me out on that.
You're all good. You're all good. No, you do not need to have this. Once you engage with Verify, that is your repository, whether they have those records yet or not. You would just still be storing them and servicing them as you have essentially at the, through this time. Once it is announced that prior years can be submitted, then you will work on getting those uploaded, but you do not need to carry 2 repositories. Once you engage with the Verify, that is your repository.
Did that help clarify?
I got a question.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Hey, how you doing, Miss Jenny?
Hello,
Yeah.
sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there.
Good, 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 good. Go ahead with your question.
All right. I kind of forgot, but it just came back up. So check this out. Can I you not Miss Jenny?
I am not. I am Miss Manda.
So do I have to use your repository? What if I got my own repository?
It
No,
is,
you-
go ahead, Jenny.
Yes, it is required. You will move to verify when you are up for license renewal, and your board administrator will communicate that with you and get you started on what that timeline looks like.
So I gotta register with y'all.
Correct.
All right, cool. Then I'm gonna go on and get on that. You know what I mean? I won't cause no problems.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Right, so there's another question that I saw from Mary Ann about, can I go back and select storage and service? I will tell you that, yes, you can. Today, that's not an option, but we are working on doing that. So I can let you know when it's accessible to go back and modify. But today, currently, if you select storage only, we have to find a way to help you modify it to be able to go back to storage and service. So I will let you know when that's available to do so and give you the green light. So then the next question is, when is the effective due date for signing up? So my understanding, and Jenny, you can clarify for me, is that it is prior to your license renewal. My recommendation is that if you know if your renewal is coming up in the next couple of months, go ahead, get started on the process now. So that way you get familiarized with it. You're moving through the process. You can start doing the format in the preferred format. My understanding is that you just need to present the executed agreement and confirmation that your records have been uploaded for 21, 22, 22, 23 to be able to get the renewal status. But Jenny, I'd just love for you to provide more context with that.
Sure. So all schools will get a courtesy reminder 1 month prior to the due date of your renewal application. You'll get that email from your board administrator. So that is essentially your green light to start the process. But as Amanda said, you kind of know and should know when your license expires and what that expiration date is. So you can truly get that started at any time, as again, it is live for you to do so and start that process. But yes, 1 month prior would be the latest to get it going.
Wonderful. So then the next question is, when we are uploading transcripts, is it individual PDF per student, or can we scan a bunch of transcripts in a PDF file? So the answer to that question, it's 2 parts. So if you want to reduce the amount of fees that you will have to pay, our recommended format is 1 individual PDF per student transcript. You can send us 1 PDF that has 60 transcripts included in it, but there will be an additional cost that will be incurred by your institution for doing that, because ultimately what we need to do is we need to take that bulk PDF, we need to separate it, and we need to store each individual transcript. So the answer, the short answer is yes. The longer answer is that it will end up being a little bit more costly on your side to send it to us in that format. But we can receive transcripts in either format if you don't have them separated currently or don't know how to separate them. When do you think we can receive the information about date of births in past transcripts? It really should be something that I can connect with my team today, and I should have an answer before tomorrow to be able to provide back, and we can distribute it to this the distribution list. So it shouldn't take me long to get back to you about that. All right. Right. Allison, I saw you put the repository agreement. We are going to put the repository agreement also, so that the Allison attached the memo. Thank you very much. We are also going to attach the copy of the agreement on the Pennsylvania site, so that way you guys have the opportunity to review it well before your renewal or before you go in and register for this as well. So that's just something that you can take a look at there. I signed up today with Verify. Can I start uploading transcripts now? Robin, yes, you absolutely can. So we actually have people who've already uploaded their transcripts and put their transcripts, and stored their transcripts with us. So you're more than welcome to do so as soon as you are ready. And I see that there is one hand that is raised. Unfortunately, I can't see who it is. So if there is a question and you have your hand raised, you're more than welcome to unmute and ask the question.
Optimist, I'm not sure if you still have a question, and I'm sorry, I don't know who's representing Optimist. So if you want to come off mute, you can do so. Oh, looks like they're good. Amanda says
Okay,
they got
perfect.
it was easy.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? I know it's a lot of information. I will put my my email in the chat here. So this is my personal email. You are more than welcome to send me any questions that you might have that might not have been answered during this call, or if you didn't want to ask them during this call, happy to provide any clarity. I will say that if you go through and you experience any challenges, any bugs, any issues, please bring it to our attention and we will work on getting them fixed as soon as possible. And I will probably start copying our support team in the conversations as well, so that way they can take the lead on providing any additional support assistance if necessary. But I'm really excited. I think it's going to be it should be a fairly easy process. You will be able to review all of your information, see all the transcripts that you've had. And hopefully this will be a pretty painless process for the entire organization. So one more question. What is the time frame to have transcripts uploaded in relation to license renewal? You mentioned we would get a reminder a month prior to renewal. Is a reminder just to ensure the agreement is signed or transcripts are uploaded by renewal date? That is a great question. So you have 60 days post execution of the agreement to be able to get your transcripts uploaded into the system. So you can come in, you can come in, create an account, execute the agreement, and then you have 60 days to be able to go in and upload your transcripts and put them into the repository. So, and then you will have 90 days after every year to be able to go in and upload those transcripts for the previous year's attendance. I gather we will get an email on the location of this video and the recording. Jenny, I don't know if we'll send a recap. Okay.
Yes, that is correct. Once the video is ready and we have it available, I'm assuming we will put it on our website as we did with the prior training and send that notice out to the schools. But yes, once it is ready, it will be communicated as to where it will be located.
Wonderful. Well, if there aren't any questions, Jenny, I'll put it back in your hands, or we can wait for a little bit longer. Up to you.
I think we scheduled it till 3:30, so you guys have 18 minutes back to your days. So you are free to hop off. If you don't have any further questions, we will hang out here. I am going to stop the recording at this time so that if there are any follow-up questions, they will not be on that recording. But thank you for attending and happy registering.
Well, Jenny, I just saw 2 more questions come through.
Okay, so I'll hold on.
Anybody that wants to drop off, it doesn't have any other questions, you're more than welcome to do so. But I did see from Vicky, is the portal not accessible as needed to upload? Nope, the portal is accessible. So as soon as you create an account, you are able to go in and you are able to load your transcripts as necessary. So it is accessible at all times, everywhere. I was under the impression I needed to sign up today, so I did, but my renewal is not until December. Is it going to be a hold off? Okay, to hold off until summer to upload. Megan, can you confirm what year your records you'll be uploading? I don't know if she's still on the call or not. If
I'm here, Amanda.
Oh, okay.
Hi. Yeah, so
Hi.
I'm brand new, so I'm really confused. I was under the impression I had to sign up today. So I did. I stopped at the credit card app and signed the agreement, but we are not due for license renewal until December of 2024.
Okay. Do you have any records that you could upload?
I'm sure. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure we do. Yeah. We have transcripts from every year.
So if you have the ability to upload transcripts for 2021, 2022, and 23, I would just upload those if you can. And then when your renewal comes, you can upload the 23, 24. That would be my recommendation.
Okay. And what if I don't? What if I just, we're in such a transition here. What if I can't, like, how soon do I have to get this done then?
We will definitely be flexible, and we can work with, so for us, the reason that there was a timeline that was instituted in terms of when you had to upload it from when you signed it was so that way it kind of created a little bit of urgency to get the records in and stored. So we understand that this is new. Not everybody, like, there might have been some confusion. So we're definitely lenient. We would just want to make sure that by the 24 renewal, that within the 60 days of that 24 renewal, that we have at a minimum the 22, 23, 24 records in our possession. So we're flexible. We would just make sure that we stay in communication with the state and with you as to when we might be able to schedule the transfer. So that, I would say, don't stress. We'll figure it out.
Okay. Okay. That answers my questions then. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Will we get a certificate of attendance asking for professional development opportunity? No certificates for today. And the recording will be sent out. All right. Again, any other questions, you're welcome